31st. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk.
Councilor Paull?
Present.
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Janik? Present. Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor deMedeiros?
Present.
Councilor Burke?
Present.
Councilor Milburn?
Present.
All present.
Thank you. Approval of Bay Street, consent agenda. Approval of Bay Street moratorium extension to December 31st, 2024. Would anyone like to pull this off the agenda? Like to entertain a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Public comments. Catherine, Tiverton Library upcoming programs. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Just a couple of things that I wanted to mention, some exciting events coming up. So first and foremost, on Saturday, August 10th, we'll be celebrating Smokey the Bear's 80th birthday bash at the library. And this is in conjunction with Tiverton Fire Department, so we're really happy to be partnering with them on this event. We hope that community members will join us as we celebrate Smokey the Bear's 80th birthday with crafts, snacks, and games open to all ages.
What time, Catherine?
10:30 to 12. And we also have a basket swamp preserve hike with Tiverton Land Trust coming up on Wednesday, August 14th from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. The walk is going to start at 5:30 at the library, and then the group will make their way to the preserve around 6 p.m. And Annie Bayer of Tiverton Land Trust will lead a plant walk through the preserve. Also, one really exciting piece that you may have seen in the news is that we are the recipient of a NASA moon tree. So back in June, we were notified that we had been selected as a recipient of a moon tree, and it is a sweet gum sapling that's been grown from seeds that have flown around the moon and back. So from Tiverton, from the moon to Idaho to Tiverton. Quite the journey. So we are really excited that the tree is doing well. You can see it right when you drive into the library property, and we were one of 50 sites selected around the country. So pretty great opportunity, and we're really grateful to NASA and the National Forest Service for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now I have two for the Warren Avenue stop signs. We are going to be discussing that. It's going to be way later in the evening. So if you'd like to speak now, that would be good. Richard St. Pierre. Of course you can.
Thank you. I know most of you know my name now, and I'm sorry I had to do that, but we have to get something done on that road. 4 months ago, I emailed everybody on the council and the town administrator. I know you all got them. You know how many responses I got? 0. Not one person bothered to say, we'll look into this. Not one person. Until I sent Mr. Carter a letter, another email saying, if I don't hear from you, I'm getting in touch with the state police and having them do something about it. Next day I got we're going to take care of it. I'm not happy with this deal. Don't ignore the citizens of this town, the taxpayers of this town. You're not taking care of a safety.
Okay, so tell me what the issue is.
The issue is tractor trailers up and down that road. I've been there for 24 years, and every year it's getting worse and worse and worse. And now you're building that place up on Sousa Road, our traffic is just going to get absolutely crazy. Dump trucks were going up and down when I started this. Dump trucks going up and down the street, loaded dump trucks. Why? They shouldn't be on our road. That's a residential neighborhood. Down in Virginia, a residential neighborhood, you can stop for speeding, you get your speeding ticket, and you get a $200 fine because you're in a residential neighborhood.
Are there signs there that say no trucks? I know there are on Russell Drive, right?
There's trucks.
I believe there's no traffic signs. I do know that there are new ones at the DPW to be installed.
So, Madam President, the two current ones, and thank you for that, that's an awesome update. The two current ones are both 30-plus feet into Warren Ave, and that's one of the reasons I had that on the agenda tonight, is that trucks will start to turn on Warren Ave, and then once they see that sign, it's too late.
You can't stop.
At that point there, it's safer to keep going versus backing up on a main or a fish, so.
So the issue is to
Someone's
bring
gonna get killed in that
that
road.
closer to Fish Road?
It's coming up, but I had requested
Okay.
new signs on both of the stop signs at the ends of the roads facing north and south. That way, the trucks have no choice. There's no excuse. If you can't see that sign, there's no turning up the road at that point.
Well, on Fish Road, it might make more sense to have it face both directions of Fish Road.
Yeah, north and south on both.
Yeah.
Okay, is that what, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
So right now, there's a small sign up there with a little box truck drawn on it, painted on it. And it says over, I don't know, 4 tons, 8,000 pounds, right? So these trailer trucks going out, there's no picture of a trailer truck up there, there's just this little box truck. And these trailer truck drivers, so one morning, I went up to the police station and I talked to this actually really nice guy up there. He's a sergeant on duty. And I said, listen, this truck's up and down the street. I said, can you do anything about it? And, oh, geez, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
No,
No, it is.
I
It's
lost it.
okay.
It's gone now. But anyway, he was a good guy to talk to. That was a good story.
So you spoke
I'll
to
get
the,
back to it. I'll
okay.
get back to it.
Okay.
So, 25 miles an hour is the speed limit on that road by law. That's the law, right? It ain't 26, it ain't 25, I mean, it ain't 35, it ain't 40. Right? In the police department, I have questions with that. I've talked to a few police officers that I know, and they just shrug their shoulders because they don't know. At what point was the police department given the right to change the law, which is 25 miles an hour, up to, if they're a nice person, let them go?
I don't know if they did change that law.
There isn't a law. Nobody
Okay.
changed that. That's, the law's 25
So is
miles
that
an
what
hour.
they're doing?
Oh, we're gonna let you go 35? No, I understand that. I can understand why they do that, but is that right to do? I don't know. How, maybe in a residential area, they could say, no, this is a residential area, you don't get any breaks in a residential area.
You do have a police sign there, right? You have one of those traffic?
Yes.
Traffic.
Well, it was a trail, one of the portable trailers.
Yeah, I noticed that the other day.
That was put up, no, it's been going now for a couple
Well,
of weeks,
yeah.
so.
It's on East Road.
It's there frequently.
So the problem with that is, my friend lives, she was right over here, she lives right across the street from down there. We were sitting down there, a couple second clip they put up, we're watching these cars go up the street, 35, 40, 50 miles an hour, lighting up 50 miles an hour. People don't care. That's an antique way of doing things. Right? I mean, that's a 50-year-old way of doing something. Technology now, they got cameras to monitor traffic. We gotta get on board with this because Stafford Road, Crandall Road, you can't drive safely on either one of those roads. I have friends that live up there and they complain all the time. They can't get out of their yards, the traffic is going so fast. So how do you do that when you have a limited amount of police officers working in town? You can't call on them to get them working something that's probably really important. Some idiot's just going up the street too fast. Right?
So speed cameras can only go in school zones?
Yep.
No, nowhere else?
Is that the state, that's the state law?
Yeah. So they could, yeah. There used to be one on Stafford, but that was because there was a school there. And I live off Stafford, and the traffic was better when they were there. But
Traffic was better when that road was closed off at the top and they couldn't get through to Fish Road. That's when it was better, a long time ago. So there was a stop sign at the bottom intersection. I'm not sure which road that is.
bottom of what intersection?
Holly? Is that Holly? There was one there years ago. I mean, it just disappeared one night. It was gonna put back up. There was one there years ago. I grew up in that neighborhood and I know there
Are you
was.
talking Warren?
Yes,
Warren and
There is a stop sign there.
not coming up from
Warren
Main
and
Road.
Primrose.
No, it's only one side.
Only one shot there.
So I had suggested in this letter that they put stop signs at every intersection there. It's gonna slow somebody down. Some honest person's gonna slow down because the people that go up there every day, the other night, 11:30, Saturday night, 11:30 at night, my house starts running on a trailer truck going down the road. How do you stop that? Nobody's gonna be able to stop that. The biggest sign in the world is not gonna stop that. So I don't know how you stop that, but we have to do something. It's unfair to the residents who've been living there for years and you
So
know,
it's
can't sleep at night.
become worse.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It starts at 5:30 in the morning and ends at whatever, 10 o'clock at night sometimes. And every gomer in the town of Tiverton with a pickup truck with no muffler on it is up and down that road 100 times a day, nonstop. Another thing I don't know who can answer this, is Why is there a double line painted on Warren Avenue? Everybody's asking me that. I talked to a lot of people about this, and they want to know why, because usually that's kind of a state road thing.
In the center of the road?
Center of the road.
I think it was traffic calming they did years ago. I wasn't.
Yeah, that was before
Double
us.
line means you can't pass, so I can only guess that somebody put it.
Single line does too. I mean, so. yeah,
No,
I'm saying,
actually,
people
single line
confuse, they
doesn't
think
always
it's
mean you
a
can't
state
pass.
road.
Double line means you can't.
So is it
Should I
a
be calling
sing,
state police up to come in and
No,
monitor
so-
this? No, I didn't think so.
there's a single line going up Warren.
No, it's a double line.
No, I think it's a double.
It is, and it goes up like this when it goes up the street.
Double lines are allowed.
I lived up there for 30 years. I lived
Yeah,
up there for 30 years, so.
yeah, double lines are allowed on,
I'm not saying it's not allowed, I'm
on
just
town
asking
roads.
why. It just seems odd.
That was
They did that when they paved that road, when they redid that road.
years ago.
No, they put the double line in, like 2 years ago, when the guy painted it in the middle of the night, and I live on the road, I know. I'm not
So
saying.
some guy, so somebody painted this in the middle of the night?
Yeah, one of the trucks in, state painted it or whatever. whoever
Wouldn't be
that truck-
state,
state.
and the town doesn't work at night.
There was a truck that went down in the middle of the night and painted that road. It woke us up.
If it was a town contractor, it would have been at night. That's the last time they did the sidewalks.
Well, if it was a town contractor,
But
but
whatever.
2 years ago.
So we can't answer
Maybe
that
maybe they
question.
did it when they paved
I'm
the
just
roads
not
behind
clear
the Grand Central
what
area.
the significance of the double line is.
So why does that bother you? That's what we're
No, it
asking.
doesn't bother me, I was just wondering why. Oh, you know why it bothers me? Because some people telling me that a double line usually signifies the state owns that road.
No,
Okay, so it's done. All right.
So it
Joe
is,
Perry,
no, I was
6 years.
just gonna say, this is one of the roads that we have designated for
No trucking.
nothing over 4 tons.
Yeah, it's 78-31, yeah.
yeah.
They use
Five-
it-
5
they
years
use it
ago.
Because Sousa Road is a mess and Connecticut is one way.
5 years ago, there was a thing on Tiverton website, whatever it was, patch, whatever it was, saying the town's finally going to buckle down on speeding on Warren Avenue, Russell Drive, and that's the third road. And they were going to put speed bumps in there. Well, they never shut up. They put signs in there. Joe Perry said that the town had bought these portable speed bumps, and they were going to be portable. They would move from this one to this one. Didn't make sense to me, but that's what he said they were going to do.
I never heard of
He said
that.
the town
Yeah.
bought them, and you own them.
Where did
And if that's the case, where are they?
We didn't do that. I don't,
This is what he told me, Joe
Well-
Perry, the late Joe Perry.
yeah, we didn't do that. Anyone
It's never
remember
come
that?
before the
Well,
members on this.
I know that,
Remember it.
So I do remember talking to the DPW director about speed bumps in another area. And one of their concerns was when they plow in the winter.
It's also a liability.
It's a
they were
problem.
gonna be taken up in the winter.
It's all,
That's why they're portable. Portable.
It's also it's a liability issue.
So, let me bring this up, excuse me, chief. The town of Middletown on High School Road, the high school's on. That's that same story I was gonna tell before. But anyway, they put they're long speed bumps. They're permanently in the ground, so it's a gradual thing. And they
Speed
got-
table.
So, what is it?
They call them tables, I
Yeah.
believe.
Speed tables, yes, thank you. They put those in, and they do work.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
do we,
After the first guy launches into a
I don't
house.
think they can do it everywhere else.
Yeah, this
we
is,
put
this is
speed
Turner
bumps on
Road.
all,
Providence has them in the neighborhoods.
The State House is a ski jump, not a.
go ahead.
Problem is, how are you gonna slow these people down, because nobody cares. I'm out in the street and I'm yelling at these people, slow down, slow down. I get, the finger wave and I get the whole thing.
Well, maybe
I got a
having-
truck driver, this old guy's about 80 years old.
Maybe-
You
Maybe
know,
having a police officer there.
We've done that. I'll defer to the chief, but we've had details there numerous times.
But if you do it like for 2 weeks straight, then maybe people say, oh, the police will
5
be
minutes
there.
after they leave, it starts all over again. And it's not their fault.
No, he's right.
It's the people, I mean, it's just and it's not just this town, it's everywhere.
Right, so I don't know how we can stop it.
You know,
I mean,
It happens on Russell too.
yeah, Russell Drive, they complain about it too.
Absolutely. So,
Barrett.
I don't know,
Merritt.
it's something that the town has to deal with, because somebody's gonna get killed. My wife walks on that street, a lot of people walk up and down Warren Avenue, and my wife has to jump up in the grass to get away from cars, because there's 2 cars going, one ain't gonna slow down to let the other go by and pull up, so they go around, they just go, she's gonna jump up in the grass. That's on the street, she's right there.
It is heavy pedestrian traffic on that road.
I know.
2 children who live up the street, they walk up and down the street. You don't care? So how do we do this? Can we narrow the road? Can we do something like that?
make it one way.
Well, that's just that.
It's either that or someone's gonna get killed. Somebody gets killed, then the town knows about it.
Yeah, but you're still gonna have.
Still gonna have it.
But don't we have, isn't,
Patrick?
Yes. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, when you're coming from,
No problem, sir.
in one direction, there's a stop sign at a lot of the,
Yeah.
Right.
but when you come in the opposite
Nothing.
direction, there's none.
There's only
Heading
one way to
east,
get
there's
close.
none.
Original drive.
So that I think people opt to take that way because it's a faster
People come
route.
from Main Road going to Fish Road. There's only one stop sign, and that's a Richard Drive right before Fish Road. So that's a
Yeah.
wide open, and they come flying up there.
And Russell Drive only has one, too.
Now, I can tell you this. My
And
wife
then there's one
I,
on Merritt.
up until a year ago, used to walk from Merritt to Warren. We'd walk down a bit and then take some side streets. There wasn't a day go by, and almost every car that came to any of those stop signs waved on it on the way by. Majority of them didn't even think about slowing down.
Absolutely.
And the traffic on that road does 40 miles an hour, and I have been passed on that road. So it is a problem.
I was passed on Main Road a few days ago. I was pulling out Warren Avenue, I got to the cemetery, coming south. And guy in Massachusetts, goes around. Yeah, but, again, I'm sorry.
No.
No, you just,
Thank you.
The speed bumps, I think that's why you came up.
There's a few things to address, and I spoke to Mr. St. Pierre, who I know and we'll work with, and most of his concerns are valid. I think if you look at any municipality, definitely Tiverton, with the way that we're growing, and you talk to any resident, exponentially traffic is one of the major concerns that we deal with. Last meeting, you authorized me to go and buy radar units for the grant for $8,000. We bought 6 new radar units. There are yellow lines in the middle of Warren Avenue because that was part of a traffic calming technique because someone came up Warren Avenue in the middle of the night and struck one of the residents' parked cars. And they were intoxicated. The signage, when it comes to the through traffic, we've spoken to Humphreys, which the captain actually stopped one of Humphreys' trucks who wasn't making a delivery and wrote the operator a ticket. We've spoken to Dollar General. We've spoken to CVS and all the pharmacies because they use Warren Avenue because they don't want to go to Connecticut Street or come off 24 and use Sousa. So, and as far as the discretion when it comes to your police officers, it depends on what the area is. If you're talking a school zone, he's correct. If the speed limit's 25, if you do 26, you're in technical violation of the law. Plan on adding about 50 more police officers that all they're going to do all day long is write tickets. And I'm not saying that as an excuse, but the reason why you have your police officers out there is discretion. So part of what we have to do is not always issue the speeding ticket because when we blitz an area that we do strict traffic enforcement, we get complaints, and you know who gets the tickets in those areas? All of the residents. So what we try to do is educate. And that's why and I just told Mr. St. Pierre that we had the speed trailer there that's on East Road. We're going to buy and have a speed counter, which will flash, but it also takes data. So before we move forward on any sort of traffic improvements, what I'd like to do is find out how many cars, and it'll track times, how many cars and what their speed is. So we'll get that data so we can focus our enforcement during certain times of the day, if not the week. But and the pedestrian issue, I know I'm speaking with the DPW director about improving pedestrian issues at the dog park. It's why sidewalks are getting installed on Main Road, because now it's just the town is expanding and traffic concerns are at the forefront. So the gentleman's concerns are absolutely valid. He has the full support of the police department. And I know we have your support, but what I'd like to do before we do anything drastic is get some more information that we can back it up so I can direct our patrols to certain spot areas.
Okay,
Madam President?
yes.
I just want to say, Mr. St. Pierre, I think your comment was valid, and congratulations. You're the one person who has sent me an email that I haven't responded directly with my cell phone. But I did go back and look, and I actually forwarded your email directly to the chief. So my apologies for not responding directly to you.
All right, yes,
think
Mike.
somebody would.
Right.
Anybody. Make you feel good.
I'll send you an email right now just so you have my cell phone.
Chief, when you're doing that work, can you, or I don't know if it's Rick to do this, but look at the placement of the signs, stop signs, because right now in our ordinances, I'm only seeing one stop sign identified on Warren Ave, and that's at Fish Road. I don't see it. I could be missing it, but I don't see it anywhere.
There's a stop sign at
There's a-
Richard, because I know.
No, I understand that.
Right.
But if,
30 years I
if
lived
this
there.
is telling us where we're placing, unless we just place them at other places without it being an ordinance, which is fine. I mean, I don't.
And one of the other issues that we have too, by National Highway Safety and DOT standards, a stop sign on a telephone pole does not count. It's got to be planted on the ground with a stop sign within certain distance of the intersection, because we've written tickets and they've been challenged. And and people go back, they take a picture, they go to traffic court, and it gets dismissed. So I think part of this whole initiative is to look at our parking signs, our traffic signs, our street signs, our reflective signs, to make sure that if we're going to go to an area and pave it, that traffic concerns are factored into that, pedestrian concerns are factored into that, and speed concerns are factored into it.
We just put one on Merritt Drive last year.
Well,
We
in the
faced
past
it.
number of years, we put 4 on Merritt.
Yeah.
I think there used to be one at Holly.
So one more thing quickly, and let you get on to your rest of your night. When this whole thing was the article that was put in the paper, I don't know if it was when you became chief or right after that, anyway, or on Tiverton website, Tiverton Patch, that they were gonna put the speed bumps in, blah, blah, blah. And then shortly thereafter, metal poles appeared. And those were supposed, I assumed that, and according to, again, Mr. Perry, that those were gonna be for the signs warning people at the speed bump at the intersection, 10 feet away. Now, some of those poles are still there. A couple have been ripped out by the people who live there because they've been there for 8 years, 7 years, whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't remember this,
Yeah.
but
Well,
you're
the pole- If you
shaking.
go up
He's-
Fish Road.
he's
go up
correct.
Fish Road, up, and those two-
So what happened when they
So we
put
were
that?
going to look at Warren Avenue as a traffic calming experiment. And part of that was we purchased plastic portable speed bumps. But the problem is, in checking with the insurance company and checking with the trust, like the administrator said, is they'll damage snowplows, but we take them up seasonally. But if you get a vehicle that is a lowrider and it comes up and it damages it or damages the tire, the town, they could, no different than you hit a pothole on a state
Yep.
road, you go to the website and they're responsible. So what we did do is kind of back off that.
How about motorcycles? That might be a problem for them.
Right. I mean, I think if we're going to do something as far as a
No,
speed table,
they don't know it's
I'd
there.
want to get some data, speak to the DPW director, because speed tables, they're different. But the whole purpose in the signs, the gentleman's correct, that we were going to deploy them there just as a traffic calming measure. But then the insurance company came in and said, be careful, because if someone damages their car, the town is going to be responsible.
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember it ever coming in front of us.
Yes.
I don't believe it did.
I mean, at that time frame, it would have been my first term on the council.
I don't-
I personally don't recall, but it's
Me
also
either.
entirely possible I
So,
forgot.
No, I don't recall it either.
Madam President.
There's one other person that wanted to talk on this issue.
All right,
Just
thank you.
real quick on that, I do clearly remember that traffic calming thing. One of the issues there was that the road was supposed to be painted. DPW was supposed to have the contract to do it, and that was delayed and delayed and delayed and never got done.
Painted.
New paint, crosswalks, paint, sidelines, fog lines, straight line. It was all supposed to get done and never did. But I do want to commend, though, Tiverton Police. As much time as I don't have on my hands, there's been plenty of vehicle stops. I know you didn't bring the data with you, but there's been plenty of vehicle stops. The good thing about the speed sign was that where they placed it, they would sit on Holly, completely out of view, and just watch the pinball machine
I
go
saw
up, up,
them.
up.
Yeah.
So there's been several stops.
Yes.
You know, and again, unfortunately, you can't sit there every day, all day. But they have made an absolute effort. So.
And Warren Avenue, as we all know in the north end, that's like one of the main cut-through streets between Fish Road and Main Road.
Non-stop, non-stop, Massachusetts cross.
So is Russell, too.
Yes.
And Merritt, for some reason, people are going
Put a toll
up
booth up
that
that
way.
road, you'll make a lot of money. Thank you very much.
Good idea, maybe we could, yeah.
Mr. St. Pierre, you have my cell phone or your email.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone else wanted to speak. Mary? Mary, I couldn't read your last name, I apologize. Oh, no, it's okay.
Yes, Mary Kilmer, 90 Warren Avenue. I've been there over 30 years. Rich is right. I have cameras on my house, and we catch, we see the cars just fly right through. I mean, 40, 50 miles an hour flying. and he's right about everything. I talked to Joe Perry before he passed away. I know he had said one time about speed bumps. We thought that was gonna happen. That was a couple of years back, but it never did. My issue is, I know Rich is for the stop sign. I live right on the corner of Holly and Warren. When I try to back out of my driveway, I gotta look to see if anybody's gonna go flying through the stop sign. The people that come out of Holly Lane, if they're taking a right-hand turn, they look left, but they don't look right, and I've almost been creamed, I don't know how many times. So what scares me is another stop sign. I know it's gonna slow people down, maybe 3 out of the 10 cars, I don't know. But trying to get out of my driveway is really a challenge sometimes. So, you know, that's my only problem with that stop sign. That road used to be a dead end. If everybody,
I remember.
was it by Arquette's house, right? The wall went?
Yep.
Yeah, see,
Yep. Yep, that's
I
right.
think the only thing
Well,
you guys can do is put that freaking wall back up.
I'm aging myself by saying this, but yes, you're right. It used to-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I understand, Rich, about the stop sign. I understand it would slow some people down, but you know what? They blow through. They're not gonna stop. That's all there is to it. And the chief has sent his officers, and they sit by Holly Lane, and I can always tell when they're there. I can't see them sometimes because of my fence, but I have a lower fence, so I can see people getting ready to cream me coming out of Holly Lane. But, his officers would sit there, and you could see the cars slowing down. And all of a sudden, when they leave, man, all of a sudden, you could tell they're gone. So,
Yeah.
I don't know what the end result.
All right.
And what I'm afraid of too is with this new building going on Fish Road, it's gonna get 20 times worse, I believe, so.
Well, they're gonna reduce Sousa. Sousa Road is gonna be redone.
Yeah, same thing, yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's, you know, I'm thinking speed bumps, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Night, guys.
David, well, we kind of did yours, that part of it, but we'll go back there later. Public hearing advertised, approval proposed charter amendment and corresponding ballot question for possible elector approval at the November 5th, 2024 general election. The amendment will provide for modification of Article 11 School Department by adding a new section 1103, which will require monthly school department financial reports to the town administrator and town council related to the annual operating budget, capital budget, and revenues. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone like to discuss? Public hearing is open. I'll close the public hearing. Any councilors? Councilor Edwards, I think you proposed this, right?
I did, but Councilor Burke has his hand up,
No,
so
go ahead.
I'll defer.
No, go ahead. It's yours.
Okay. So as I mentioned the last meeting, pretty straightforward. We, and I heard what, Councilor Burke suggested and also what, School Committee Chair Farnworth mentioned. That's Farnworth, not Farnsworth.
I wrote it. I know how to say it now. Go ahead.
There we go. And while I agree that would be an acceptable solution, my concern is that the data, again, all good things, we start with the best of intentions, and then eventually it's just going to go by the wayside. And with the, budget constraints that we've run into through the last budget cycle, several budget cycles before then, I think that transparency is the best option for the community. Any member of the public can walk in and get our financial statements on the municipal side. It's very easy. The treasurer can produce them. It would be nice that, for us on the municipal side, since, the biggest check that the town of Tiverton writes every year is to the school system, to have a window into what's going on in the financials and have it be a requirement so that we aren't caught flat-footed if for some reason, the situation in the schools change. This is not something that's punitive. This is not something that's, politically motivated. This is purely an effort to put something forward to promote transparency across all of, the expenditures in the town of Tiverton. And, I think that we should move forward and let the voters decide, because I've been to, all those school committee meetings. I've watched them all. There is a huge uproar in this town, and, I, like many of, my fellow counselors here, have received innumerable phone calls from the end of February until we got through the budget cycle. I was essentially working 2 full-time jobs, my actual full-time job, and then on the council, fielding phone calls from constituents who had questions and concerns. And quite frankly, I didn't have the information to even speak intelligently on the subject, because it was, it was still in the hands of the school committee. And if we had, the financial data to be able to at least take a look, I think that would have made the process a lot easier. So I don't know if we want to continue discussion, or I'm happy to move passage.
Mike,
You want to put your motion on the floor?
you want to do that?
I would love to. So I'll move that we put the proposed charter amendment forward to the voters.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. Further, some discussion. I just want people to know, we're not making this rule. We are sending it to the voters. So if the voters decide no, well, then that's fine. But there has been a lot of concerns, and this is a way for the voters to decide.
I just reiterate, I think putting something like this in the charter does not allow for it to be flexible enough as things change, as best practices change. I think there are other ways to go about this. So I would urge that we vote this down.
Anyone else? Jay?
I disagree. I think it needs to be in the charter. If it isn't in a document in the town that has some teeth, councils change, school departments change, MOUs get thrown away, and it just will, at some point, cease to happen. I think it needs to be in the charter for that reason. The town budget is published monthly. It isn't exactly required, however, 50310 of the charter requires the town administrator to prepare budget reports as required by the town council. We need something like that in the charter for the school department's budget. And in no way are we telling them how to spend the money they get given. All I'm saying is the citizens of the town need to be able to easily and consistently access that information.
Anyone else? Deb?
I don't think that this needs to be in the charter. The wording in the item that you just referenced is very vague. It says that the municipal reports have to go to the town administrator. This is very specific, and I'm just concerned, as Councilman Burke is, that this is going to kind of pigeonhole us into we're required to do these particular budgets, and that might not be best practice down the road. I feel that it doesn't really belong in the charter. I do feel that we need to be transparent. I do feel that we need to work council and school committee together. I like the idea that the chairman of the school committee, Ms. Fonworth, presented about a committee with some school committee, some town council, some public people to look at the finances. We have an auditor looking and recommending different types of budget packages, different types of reports, and I just don't think that this needs to be in the charter.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair?
I have a motion on the floor. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if I could just ask for some clarification from Councilor Janik. You said that this was too vague. What specifically in the language would you change?
No, I don't think
I
it's
don't,
this.
I don't
That
think
was
this
vague.
is vague. I think this is too specific.
Too specific.
Yeah.
So let me rephrase then. What would you what would you change? What would you alter in this
So
to make
in-
it palatable?
In the, is it 503?
Yeah.
50310.
In 50310, it just says reports.
Well, that's what,
But this is saying annual operating budget, capital budget, revenues.
well,
And,
but that's what they give us.
but that's
That's
not,
what the
but
town
that's not
does.
what the charter says they have to. It just says reports. It's vague. So that if things change,
But what would change? Like, because what I'm saying is, this was the problem. This is why the Budget Committee gave them $1, is because we could not get the information. We finally did, but I'll be honest with you, it wasn't as straightforward as what I usually see coming from the town. And the citizens were asking for it and never got it. So, this is why this is coming about. I couldn't tell you at some point where the money was or what the money was. And a lot of other people couldn't either. So I think that's why this needs to be there. And if charters can always be changed. As time changes and something needs to change, then we can put another amendment, or whoever's sitting here could do that years from now or whenever. But I think because of the problems we had this year, that this is the only way we can make this clearer for all of us to understand and the taxpayers to know where their money is going. David?
If I had a dime for every time I heard the term transparency dating back to February, I could have funded the school department. So I fully support the clarity in this and the clarification and the transparency. And again, like you said, it's up to the voters to decide, but I think it's good government, and any type of transparency is good government.
Jay? And then go ahead.
I would suggest that if the issue is that we don't require the town by charter to submit a monthly financial report, it would be real easy to insert into this, the Tiverton School Department and the town treasurer shall, and modify it.
Yeah,
I would
But
support
I
that.
still say,
I would support that.
would you support?
yes, but I still say that committees and meetings and all that, it's just too damn easy for it to go by the wayside when you either have a new school committee or you have a new town council or you have a new both of them.
All right, so we could change it to Charlotte Tiverton. Can we change it tonight and it'd be all right?
It would be under a different section, though. 'Cause
That's
this,
the issue.
Oh.
This is in the school department, so the treasurer would be in a different section.
So we couldn't do that tonight.
I wouldn't recommend it.
You wouldn't recommend it tonight or ever?
I wouldn't recommend it tonight because.
Well, it won't be on this ballot.
It'll be on this ballot, but I wouldn't recommend that change because it's
No, the town
So
part.
you
the town.
you couldn't do the treasurer, if you don't do it tonight, you couldn't do the treasurer in time for this election.
Right,
Correct.
that's what I'm
right.
saying.
Yes, yes.
So it'd have to be the next election.
Because this is specifically put in the school section,
So it'd have to be the next 2 years from.
or a special election if you call
Or
it.
could we do an ordinance?
Or there is a charter commission, too.
You got the Charter Review Commission that's on the election ballot this November for their work for,
And that would
and
be. for the-
recommendations for the next election.
And we could we do it as an ordinance for the town?
You could ask the treasurer to do that. The treasurer does do that.
she
Right.
did,
Yeah, she does it anyway.
Right, that's,
But could we put it as an ordinance?
you could.
And we could do that anytime.
if I'm,
You couldn't put it as an ordinance for the school department, I believe, because of Title 16.
No, but we could do it for the treasurer. For the school department, we have to approve this tonight or not approve this tonight for it to be on the ballot.
if I might add, there was a state bill. It did, weirdly enough, pass the Senate.
Yeah.
It did not pass the House, and it didn't pass the House because it was specifically targeted at Tiverton. They could have done it for all the other communities, but
They didn't ask.
unlike all the other communities, Tiverton was staring down the barrel of at the time, $5 million deficit, which, I mean, the closest one to us, I think, was like Middletown at like 1.25 million. So we are, by all accounts, an outlier in the fiscal issues that happened this past budget cycle. And so, you know, I would hate, and by the way, if you look at the actual language in the charter amendment, it is relatively vague. It says, shall submit monthly financial reports to the town administrator and the town council related to the annual operating budget and capital budget of the department. The report shall include by budget category all actual expenses and expenditures, and all revenues received from any source related to the operation of the department. I think this goes to the heart of the issue, which is we wound up in a scenario where the school department, especially here in Tiverton, was the recipient of one-time funds through the ESSER, monies and the COVID monies, and we wound up in this position. And had we, as a council, been at least aware going into the budget cycle, I think things would have played out a little bit differently.
discussion at least.
We would have at least been able to get out in front of the issue as it presented itself. So, what the context of those reports look like, whether it comes in the UCOA that they submit to the state, or it comes in a form and fashion very similar to what we get, regardless, we should have the information, because I will reiterate again, the largest check that this municipality writes is to the school department, and we should have at least some oversight over where the dollars are going.
Mike?
So, a couple things. One is, it's never smart to make law because of an anomaly. And basically, that's what I heard you describe just now, Councilor Edwards, and I'm not downplaying the challenges of this past budget cycle, but you said this was a one-time thing.
It wasn't.
But the last few budget cycles, I remember we have not had those types of challenges. We did have some the year before that. I think we worked through those. The other piece is, regardless of this, we still do not manage the school department budget. So you can put this in, but this does not give us authority to manage the school department budget, and it can't. So it's a little bit of a paper tiger in that regard, too.
If I could just posit one thing. This is, yes, the anomaly was very large last year. This is an ongoing issue. This has been 5-6 years of us being told that there is this structural deficit out there, which, again, we went through the budget process. We learned that although the school committee has told us there is a structural deficit, by their lawyer's estimation, there is no such thing as a structural deficit, because they've had the money to cover it. So, the use of one-time funds is not isolated to this past year. The use of one-time funds has been kind of an ongoing thing, and this goes back to when I first got on the council, and, under a prior administration, they had accumulated a $4 and change million pile of money. So the fact that we only found out about that because our auditors alerted us to it, this is something that should have been happening well before then, so we would have known what's going on, and now it's kind of gone the reverse direction. So I don't know. Ultimately, I think sunlight is the best option, to be for everybody in town to see, because we all get massive tax bills. We should all have, visibility into where those dollars are being spent. And right now, was it like 66% of the town's budget? We have no visibility into what's going on. And you're absolutely right, Councilor Burke. We don't have the authority to change the budget, but we should have some idea as to whether or not we're going to have a surprise of, hey, we need $5 more million, and we're going to ask you to break the cap, or we're going to turn around and close a school, or, fire half of our teachers, or, some other drastic action. We should at least know that that's coming. I don't want to find out that the freight train's coming towards me when it's, the light on the front of the engine is, 10 feet away from me.
And I don't disagree with that. I think there's other ways to go about that.
I want to
without going
speak.
through
Is it all
this
right
process.
if I take a turn for a minute? I don't think we're managing by doing this. I think we're preparing ourselves for budget time, so that when the budget comes to us, we have some idea of what was going on. And yes, we do allocate the money, so we should know what we're up against, not in May. I think we should be watching it and have discussions. But I think that this isn't me managing. I think we should know where the money is. And I think when we decide what the budget should be, we should be very well educated before then of what we're going to be up against. And that's how I feel. And the community needs to know
Community wants to know.
The community, I have never been called so much by parents than I have been the last few months. And I keep saying, I'm on the town council, right? But there's a lot of concern. And it's not just parents. It's the elderly. It's just normal citizens are saying, why were you guys so surprised? And I didn't have an answer because we didn't know about it until it got here. But I do have to say that I've been on the council a long time, and I've been part of watching the budget committee, and this has been going on for quite some time, that we really haven't understood of what was going on. I'm going to call a vote soon.
So, just one thing, I'm not saying that we don't need the information. I think that that information is really important, and I think that through this past year, that became very evident. Spending 6 years on the budget committee prior to being on the council, we always got a bottom line number from the schools, and we cut it or didn't cut it or added to it, but didn't always know, didn't really ever know what we were adding or taking away from, because it's up to the schools to manage their budget. But this would help, because then at least we know, and we know if we're going behind or we're spending over. I just don't think it needs to be in the charter. I just feel like we're singling out the schools by putting this in the charter this way.
All right, so I have a motion on the table and a second.
Councilor Edwards seconded.
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
I said,
okay.
and a second.
And a second. I thought you said any second.
No, I said and a second, I just looked to make sure no one else wanted to talk. All those in favor? Against? 4-3. All right, motion passed. All right, next. I lost my agenda.
So just to clarify, it passed so that it will go on the ballot?
Yes.
So that the voters will
Yeah, the
decide?
voters will decide. All right. Council President deMedeiros, discussion and possible vote on the distribution of casino gaming capital fund.
So,
Administrator Carter.
within your council packet, there's a memo from Treasurer Surratt outlining, and I also provided you a pretty hefty packet of requests, and some of the information is duplicated. She provided a summary as to the revenues that have been received since 2021 through 2024. We would be allocating the FY23 monies, which, with the reimbursements that have come back from USDA and a recommendation of returning 72,000 of unspent funds back to the fund, there would be 3,190,911 to be allocated.
I have a question, though.
Yep.
Is this reflective of the money that we took out for the police?
So I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So
Yes.
it is not, that's the
Okay.
gross.
That's the gross.
In my schedule, you'll see,
Is this a
there's
schedule you just
there's a
gave us?
section that would be already authorized,
What are you looking at?
so it'd be the sticker docket,
This is a new one.
The thicker one?
yeah, and it would be about the one,
This is the one you just gave us?
yeah, and so if you go about 6 pages in, you'll see,
Net spending to date? Oh,
no, the page after that.
okay.
All right, so you'll see from, that schedule provides all the requests, which is in the first column. So it's the FY23 receipt request. It would be my recommendation in the next column, and then you have whatever we couldn't expend out of those requests get pushed into FY24 or into future years. It is what it is. But the very top category are already previously approved. So there was $285,861,000 approved for the school budget items that were taken out of their budget that were really capital monies that council's already voted on authorizing. So that would come off that 3.1 million.
So that's the schools?
Correct. $71,000 for the police car.
Yep.
there was discussion, and I'm not sure where we are with this, about the time payments and the budget that were
Yeah.
taken out.
We need to vote. for
Yeah,
that. That
I know,
means-
so what I did is I broke that out into two categories. One would be for the amount for the FY '24, 25 budget, which is $154,000. And then, well, you're gonna see, because I would push, my view would be anything beyond the FY '25, we may take out of the the 2024 gaming receipts. So to pay off the ladder truck and,
Okay, so this is the 223.
this is the 2023.
Okay. Well, we should vote on the 24 too.
Well,
because-
no, well, we didn't, that's not
I
advertised.
know, but I wanted to be, ugh.
Yeah, that's not, it was on the agenda, so.
Wait a minute.
I don't
That's-
think-
Specific, wasn't specific.
It
It
wasn't,
wasn't
spec-
specific. Well,
no,
I-
yeah, so,
okay, all right, well, I wasn't sure, so I only did it for the FY '23.
no, so let's do the, so we took, we're gonna buy a fire truck.
So, and, well, when you get into fire, there's another fire truck. So there's a pumper that we're buying.
Right.
That we've already authorized.
But we can't do it out of the 2024?
We could do it out of 2023 or 2024.
Why don't we-
So I've given you options as to where my views were, you should do it. And
I
then
think
we'll,
we should take it out of the 2023, get all that spent, so we don't get confused here. And then we know what we have.
fine, I mean, there's enough money for
There's-
most of this.
Because this is only the 2023 balance.
So, just so that there was $600,000 in requests. I would be looking at expending 2.9 million out of FY '23 and 3 million out of FY '24.
Well, we
So-
have to look at the request, though.
I know,
'cause don't
but
remember it.
that's, yeah, I know, that this, don't
I don't-
forget, you've got paving, you've got, there's a lot of requests here.
Well, right, but,
Madam President?
okay, but the things we said we would definitely do, we need to be clear
So-
on. We're paying off the streetlights,
Yep.
we're paying off the fire,
The ladder.
The ladder
the
truck.
ladder truck. And was there one other thing? Oh, and then we
buying
said
a
we were
pumper.
gonna buy a pumper.
Right.
So that is what we've already committed ourselves to. The pumper, the ladder
I just put them in
truck.
a format and a schedule for you to see by department, except for those, I didn't put the pumper in there, it's under fire, but it is authorized in the first year.
So the ladder truck and the pumper and the streetlights were what we decided we were gonna spend the 2023 money on.
And under no circumstances was the pumper gonna be financed.
No. So, and we're paying, so once we do this, we have no more capital.
Correct.
Yeah, no more time payments in the
No
budget.
more time payments in the budget. And so I thought we were gonna take that from 2023. Do you all agree?
I think we actually need to take a step back before we even have this whole conversation, because going back to 2021, there's still funds that have been allocated but not even used. I mean, we're not looking at a clear picture here of what's even total in the account, because there's money that hasn't been spent from 2021.
You know, that is a point.
It is,
lot-
I'm not
a lot of-
disagreeing, you know, you start somewhere, that's.
Well, I think we should hit the reset button, is what we should do.
No, I think what we should do, Dave, I think what we should do,
So we can go back and go through those, and I can explain to you where they are. But that's,
or we should just,
Chris, just out of curiosity, did it turn out there was a prepayment penalty on the ladder truck?
No, there wasn't.
no, there wasn't.
Well-
No, no. All right, so let's look at FY '21. So we almost spent all of that.
so
You had 45,000 software upgrade for the clerk, that was determined that was
we're
not
not
used.
going to use.
Correct.
Okay.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at a report that I'd asked Denise for about 3 weeks ago.
And
So
where
it's
is it?
actually in her report.
I was just saying, it's in this report, you're just gonna find a different spot.
Yeah, it's under.
I'm just confused because I have too much in front of
It's in
me.
the short one, the short one we had with our backup.
Oh, all right.
So there's a long spreadsheet that, you know, it's red and black, that, so it tells you what was requested, in what years, and what was spent. So the first 2 pages of it are 2021s, 2022s, and some 2023.
And that's where you got the
Yeah,
72,000.
so there's 72,000, which I agree are unspent, should go back.
So we allocated it to the town and we didn't spend it.
No,
It just was underspent.
they were underspent, so,
Didn't need all of it.
Well, there's underspent and there's unspent.
Right.
well, there's unspent, but that's the second part of that second page. I'm not there yet. I'm just getting to the
Yeah,
first.
just up to,
break,
right above the status update, Dave. That's unspent,
So
underspent.
if you look, all those items are complete. So there's excess monies that should go back to the fund.
So-
And there's overspent too, so there's
Yeah, there's-
balancing
there's-
to do.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm
that
looking
first
at.
column there, that's good. So that's a total of 72 unspent.
Which we add,
Yeah.
which we add to what's in there now.
Right.
And then there's a status update next.
So the
So-
status updates are that we've just did the skateboard park fence. We spent 15,900, we allocated 20, there's 4,000 left. So you can see that there are some ongoing issues. So we've done the chairs here, but we haven't done the table yet. You know, so that's, I gotta get somebody to design it and build it, which I haven't done yet. The North Tiverton redevelopment, we've only spent a little bit of money, but we have a purchase agreement with Weston Sampson that is fairly significant. As a matter of fact, further in our discussion later, under new items, you'll see there's an additional request for another 50.
I thought it was 60.
Was it 50? I thought it was 50.
I'm trying to find the council minutes. I thought it was 60.
Yeah, it was
Well, we
60.
can amend it. It is what it is. I went off because I didn't have anything in writing.
But the recycle center, we're gonna keep that there, 600.
Correct. So, there's 650 for the recycling center. We've written a grant through congressional earmark. We are in the congressional budget for 1.5 million. To finish that, that would give us the appropriate funds to do that. It's a $1.9 million project.
Yeah, Ted Nessie already said we're good to go.
It's good to go through the
Yeah.
process. It's not, it's
I know.
made, it's.
We got over the big
We
hurdle.
go over the big hurdle. It's in the it's in the budget. The sidearm mower has been ordered. It's not here yet. This is well over a year to get here.
Okay.
We're still in the middle of doing the generator, and I think Rick is actually asking for more money for this, for the IT equipment for the new radio systems. I believe he's ordered the heavy lift equipment. I don't think that's in either. That also took quite a while, so that's ongoing. The library is still spending their 15,000.
Yep.
There are the software upgrades. We agree that the clerk has told us that is not necessary because of another route that she took.
So we can add that to the
That can go back.
72,668.
Fort Barton fencing is not Fort Barton down here, it's the tower up here, the fencing that needs to be, that has not been out to bid yet, I don't think. All the other the tree cutting, the saplings, all that's been done, the fencing is still a piece that needs to be done. Live scan equipment is well over a year to get us here, that price will come down. I'm gonna explain where the balance of that is gonna go, though, because I do have an issue. The AEDs we did not do, we actually did weapons, because we can get a grant for the AEDs. This was
So that can come back?
well, if you look down, we actually bought the weapons.
Yeah, but weren't we supposed to approve that?
So,
Yes, we were. Let's be honest here.
I am being honest, this was an oversight on my part. I did
So
not
we didn't
realize this,
allocate anything for weapons and they spent the money.
But they didn't spend the AEDs, and, I know, and there's
You can't do that.
well, we did give them the department's latitude in the last allocation.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
think we said instead of AEDs, you can buy weapons. I don't think we said that.
Can we vote on that now? Just clear it up.
Well, it's gonna be, because the weapons are here, it is an issue.
Okay.
It was a mistake it was a misunderstanding at the end of that meeting. It was no different than the misunderstanding with the cemetery. I thought they had $75,000 to start paving. And that was a mistake because it wasn't, the total didn't add up either, so the life scan is actually at $38,000. So the difference between that and the AEDs would go towards the guns, and I think there's a credit that the chief is using to balance that off within the department. And the body armor, there is a grant coming through for that. So that's where those statuses are. The feasibility study, in recreation, they are actually gonna ask to use some of that monies to offset the finishing of that project down there, and that's only a piece of it. That's only to install the
Talking about the pickleball?
no, this is only to install the physical,
The Ninja Warrior thing.
yeah.
What?
Adult fitness.
Yeah, the outdoor
Yeah,
gym.
the adult
Ninja
fitness.
Warrior.
All the outdoor gym is here, it just hasn't been installed yet.
Okay.
So, and I think that's like 51,000, we'll see that when we get to recreation.
Apparently Dave
And
doesn't
everything
use
about this building, we have not done anything with, as far as the shingle on the back of the side of that. I need to get somebody in here to quote. We have been having nightmares to find contractors. We need the carpets.
So we're gonna keep that
So
there.
that, I would recommend that we keep.
So what we
So
just,
what we would return is the 72,000.
right, so,
We would give the chief the authorization to
oh, wait,
swap the
no,
guns.
no, the
No, then that's the
72.
schools.
No, wait a minute.
117,668.06.
117, yeah, that's what I got too, because we're taking Jones software
Right,
out.
I'm sorry, yep.
So if we add that
So, yeah,
to,
I forget about that. We could add,
yeah, so we have to add that to the 31.
117 what?
It's
117,668.06.
so on the very
Last
front,
numbers again? Both were talking.
117,668.06.
so basically, this front page, the very, very front page of that schedule in front of the thicker packet, all you need to do is add 45,000 to the bottom of it.
Right, that's what I was just doing. No, we need to add 117,668 to
What's
it.
where do you get the 117? 45 and what?
The 72,000.
72,000 is already added in.
That's in, okay.
72,000 is already
Oh.
added in the front of that.
Yep, it's right there, potential funds
Okay.
returned. So 3190 plus the 45.
So that gives you the update on where we are with projects. I mean, I don't know if there's more that you want to, other than the schools projects that we haven't really discussed.
Unspent.
So it gives us
So do we need,
3.2, and that's 2023.
so do we
Okay.
need, do we need votes to approve these things? We're gonna go line by line? What is the
Yeah, I guess-
administrator's preference?
On what we just discussed,
Yes.
I think we need,
those have already been voted.
Right.
It's just a matter of voting.
No, not the updated stuff that we are, but the money's coming
The new
back.
stuff that would.
The new-
Yeah, I would
versus the
vote
new stuff.
I would vote the monies that we didn't use go back into the fund. That's how.
Correct.
We have to vote that.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion
not
that.
really, because it's sitting there, right? We don't
there,
have,
I mean,
yeah, we don't
But
have.
I would just unallocate it and put it back
Okay.
into, so that now you can
Mike's
reallocate.
saying we
Make a
really-
motion to unallocate any funds that were unspent in the 21-22 casino monies that have not, wait a minute,
No, they're excess funds.
excess funds,
Excess
not
funds.
unspent, excess funds in the 21-22 casino monies, and reallocate them to the,
Would I just make this, so it's excess funds of previously allocated expenditures.
2,
You're moving it from 23 to 24,
which is 40,
45.
$45,000.
And $72,800, $686, $668.06.
okay.
I'm sorry, we're moving it from
I'm gonna take the
22
motion
to,
back, 'cause I'm confused.
we're moving it from 22 to 23.
23, correct. Well, 21, 22.
You're not moving it, excuse me,
No.
I'm sorry. The money's in the account.
It's in the pot, it's in the
I
pot.
don't
It's
even
in the
think
pot.
we need to do this.
But to make it clean,
All
what he's closing out 23, right? That's what you're doing. You're
No.
Closing out-
No, we're closing out 22.
Okay, wait,
This is a conversation.
the money we're spending, we have not spent 23.
No.
Okay.
And we haven't spent
So-
24.
No. so
Because we
let's
can't
forget
until
all of-
now.
Let's forget all about 24 right now
So
and concentrate
everything
on 23.
allocated prior to 23, which would be 22 monies, 21
What
monies.
monies?
That were obligated, spent, and there are surpluses left, we're putting back in so that you can reallocate.
Correct.
But not only,
That's the 72,000.
So they're not tied to a project.
right, that's one of the motions, and the other motion is Jones Software goes.
That's one of them.
That's part of it.
That's one of them.
That's all in there, but I'm too confused to make.
All right, I'll make the motion then.
I
So
can
I'm
make
gonna make a motion that we take, we unallocate the surplus and unspent dollars that were previously allocated for the software and for the 2021, 2022 surplus. That was unspent back into the pot of money, so to speak.
So they're not tied to a project.
So they're not tied to a project.
Okay.
Does that motion satisfy the solicitor?
Totaling
Let's try to understand.
I don't know.
Totaling what Councilor Paull just said.
As long as the treasurer understands.
She'll
I'm fine with
understand it.
Okay.
You're basically you're taking allocated funds, right? You're taking allocated funds that were previously allocated when there's an excess,
Yeah.
because they haven't been spent. You're taking those funds, and you're just moving into the next fiscal year.
So we're
Moving
taking
into
all defunct, we're taking
2023.
all defunct,
Yes.
all defunct spending allocations and any surplus dollars for an allocation that were unspent and moving them back.
But my understanding is in general accounting principles, if something is allocated and it's not spent,
Then
it
it's
goes
the-
back to the, it goes
Right,
back to
I
where you
don't
came
even
But-
know if we need
But
this.
you're closing it out, I get it.
I understand what you're saying, but it's also, they've technically been encumbered. And if we don't unencumber the excess funds, then we don't have the ability to re-encumber them into something else. Okay.
Okay. And we're putting it into 2023.
Just back into the giant pot of
Back in
money.
the pot.
Back in the pot.
So it would go to the monies that you can allocate for FY '23. Because you also have 24 monies there too.
Well, that's why I think it should go into 2023, so we make it nice and
2023 goes
clean.
into 2024.
No, because I want to spend 2023 tonight.
Okay, that's fine.
Meantime, it's going back into the
So mo-
restricted
second.
account where it came
Second.
from.
Okay,
Second.
second.
So I would just suggest that whatever we do at the end of the night, we include in the motion that any excess dollars roll forward.
Okay.
Honestly, I would recommend a monthly report. I mean, that way we can avoid, what we just talked about the school department, we can avoid all this going forward. We shouldn't be looking at 2021 and saying, oh, there's still money not spent, and here it is,
I disagree
2024.
with you, Dave, because it's ongoing stuff that Chris has explained.
We can put it in the report. I don't have any issue.
No, I just, regular status updates on
quarterly.
where it is.
Quarterly.
Quarterly, monthly, quarterly.
Yeah,
is-
monthly's too much,
We
quarterly.
have no issue with giving you a report.
And that's because she has it
Okay.
downstairs.
It's all down there,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is what it is. It's-
But that way we can clean
You
it
can
up.
spit it out in a matter of minutes.
Exactly.
So
Denise
motion,
won't have any
That's where I got
problem.
this.
so motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Okay.
So that would now give you $3,245,911.43.
Okay.
FY '23, we
What about me?
Seconded the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think they were talking about
No,
you.
I heard my name, I just didn't know what it
I
was.
said it into the microphone.
So then, I think the next step, if you all agree with me, is to do what we talked about during budget time.
Correct.
Get that done and then subtract it and see what we have left.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
So,
we're
go
gonna
to,
make a
go to
motion.
that sixth page. All the requests are in that first column. So we can go
Wait a
through
minute.
them and we can mark them and then add them up.
No, not all the requests, just the ones we talked
No,
about
no,
during
no,
budget.
so you can.
Keep going.
Okay,
Right?
okay, so it's,
So I already authorized previously was the 1.2 million. 243,861. That would clean up all of your outstanding capital that was on the budgets before for time payments. The 285,000 for the schools for their capital.
but we already approved that.
We did, but I'm just identifying it. And the 71,000 for the cover.
We
All right,
we also already approved the 60,000 for the park.
It was 60,000?
I'm looking, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, but I still
Okay.
haven't found that.
Okay.
So,
But I think we're confusing okay, everyone, we're confusing this issue. We need a motion tonight just for the stuff we haven't already allocated.
Correct.
Right, but we need to
For
know-
what we haven't voted on.
He's just telling you this has already been voted on, so you gotta subtract that number from the 3 point whatever, right? That's what you're trying to say.
Correct.
You don't have to re-vote this was part of the budget process.
And then,
So what you just mentioned is what we've already decided.
right, and you've also got one other big item, is the pumper that the chief has already ordered,
Right,
so
925,000.
we have,
still not getting what I'm saying.
so between the pumper and what we did during the budget, that leaves the balance out of this 3.235,911.43 million that we've got at $1,067,050.43. That's what we can allocate out of the FY '23 if we're gonna do the stuff we already authorized and the pumper,
Right,
which has already been
So what
ordered.
we need tonight is an official vote for the pumper and for the time payments, because we did not vote on that.
Okay,
We voted on the schools, the school money, we voted on the police, and we voted on Mike's,
Okay.
I'm calling it Mike's thing, but you know what I'm talking about. So we need a specific motion right now for the pumper. So someone needs to motion to take $925,000 out of the casino money to buy the pumper.
So moved.
Somebody needs, okay, motion's been made in second. All those in favor? somebody needs to make a motion.
Just writing it down.
Okay. Someone needs to make a motion for the time payment on the streetlights to be paid off.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, second, all those in favor. And somebody needs to make a motion for the
Police
ladder
vehicle.
truck to be paid off.
So moved.
I'm going to second for discussion.
Okay.
Based on the document that the administrator put in front of us, it looks like the actual ladder truck to be paid off because it's getting kicked forward. The request is going to come for the FY '24 monies.
We'll fix that.
No, I think we should do that for 12.
And I love where your head's at, and I agree with you, so.
So altogether, the time payments for the streetlights and the pumper would be $887,000.
Well, you just did the streetlights, so don't
The ladder truck.
Because the streetlight, I didn't distinguish it, I just did time payments for the FY '25 budget, which was both streetlight and the payment for FY
Yep.
'25 for the pump, for the ladder truck. But if you add both of those numbers together, it's $887,000.
Right, but right now, the motion has to be to
So
pay off the ladder truck.
the motion is for the ladder truck, which is identified here as time payments FY '26 and beyond to be paid in full for $732,972.
Right.
Where were the streetlights on?
They're one up above it.
So motion's been made and second, all those in
Oh,
favor.
do we have a second? We, actually, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, you're missing the
Ah,
seconds tonight.
I'm paying
Motion
attention.
been made and second, all those in favor. So now we need to subtract the ladder truck, the pumper, street lights, what we gave the school, the police, and
North Tiverton?
North Tiverton. We need to get that number and total that number.
Can we just say for the North Tiverton that we're gonna have to verify whether it's 50 or 60? Because I thought we did, because I said we probably need a little cushion.
Yeah.
I think we allocated 60, I'm almost,
think you're right,
I'm
too.
positive. So it's 60. Subtract all that and then subtract it from 2023.
Should be 1,007,050.
That's left.
Yep.
1,007,050.
Did we do 60 already, though? I don't think we had a motion for that.
We already did that.
Already done, okay.
Previous meeting.
Okay. So, David, what is that number?
1,007,050.43.
Okay.
That's what you want.
Now, what I would
Yep.
like to
Minus, I didn't
do,
do the 60.
so the town is taken care of for 2023 right now. What I'd like to do is look at the school's request for 2023. You all following me?
So
That's somewhere in here.
is there backup beyond just various on here?
Well, they sent
Or-
it to us a long time.
Okay.
It's here somewhere, right, Chris?
Is it in the packet?
It's in the new packet he just gave us.
It's the last page, I believe.
So,
Sorry, we just got this. Okay,
School committee cap.
Last page.
Okay.
very last page, yeah.
so
So,
it appears to be, so it's the security. Fort Barton Security, Pecasset Security, Ranger Security. Gym dividers at Fort Barton and Pecasset? I don't remember that being. Okay. Do you guys want to come up and explain this? A little?
A lot of this is safety.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm confused.
A lot of this was part of the,
This was given to us a while ago, though.
This was given to us in the booklet. from
February,
February.
yeah.
and actually, I had Dr. Sanchoni sent it to me this week, so that's, we're somewhere this week.
and a lot of this came from the survey that was done in the
Right.
schools.
So, the Fort Barton vestibule, that's security. That was recommended?
All of this is part of the five-year capital plan that's been approved by RIDE that qualifies for reimbursement. So not knowing what maybe you would be thinking about, we created a list what we thought was priorities and certainly would work with you.
And
Obviously,
this would be reimbursed?
everything on this list is minimum being reimbursed of 35%. Some of them qualify for bonus points.
Okay.
Has any of this been done?
None of this has been done, no. This is our request for
So I know
FY.
you got a burn jag or the cops grant or something that, and there was some security monies last year that, I wasn't sure if any of that was this,
No, that was for the cameras
All right.
that we took care of.
And I know like the doorknobs at Fort Bottom were replaced and that kind of stuff was done. And that
Some of
was
them.
from last money, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So the Fort Bottom security vestibule, the cassette, gym dividers. Want to explain that?
Sure, there are the dividers to separate the gym. As you know, most of our schools use a gym and a cafeteria, and they're just in the one at Picasset is actually falling. We're gonna have to take that one down, and they're just, they've been around as long as the school's been there, so most of them are 15 to 20 years old, and they've just kind of outlived their useful life.
When we renovated though, we didn't replace those?
Before me.
It's been 15 years.
It has been, Diane, time flew while you're having fun, huh? Okay, all right, and then the middle school gym divider would be the same thing?
Correct.
Tiverton Middle School vestibule, security film. Tiverton Middle School, replace all doorknobs with lever handles and deadbolts, and this was all part of the safety.
This all came from the Department of Justice, Homeland Security did the audits for our schools, yes.
Tiverton High School vestibule. Tiverton High School, same thing.
Yep.
Air purification system install at THS gym locker rooms. Is that part of the new renovations?
It's something we want to add into the new renovation. It wasn't part of the original bid. I don't know why it was left off. It should be there. It's obviously, it's a room that needs, clean air circulating through it at all times.
Okay. Replace front door at Picasset, safety. Replace doors 2 and 5 at TMS. What's 2 and 5?
Just how we number the buildings around the building.
Oh, okay. Replace front cafeteria and back doors at Ranger, safety. And install deadlocks in all interior doors elementary. And that comes out to $952,000.
That's the total for that list, yes.
Okay.
Can I just ask a quick question? On those dividers, do we get bonus points for safety for those? Are they
So-
considered that?
Safety is the baseline. Only educational items would qualify for bonus points. So those would get it to 35%.
But they're considered safety because they're
Oh, because if they
unsafe.
fall down
Well,
on
they're
some
gonna fall down,
child.
yeah.
Yeah, well, we're gonna take them down and before that happens.
Right. So that would be what we take, I'm just trying to organize this a little bit. So that would be what we take from 2023, 952. That was the original request for 2023. Am I right? Yes. Does anyone have any questions about this top list?
I do. Actually, as it relates to the report on what has been spent, the update, status updates, the last page goes over, we've got 2021, 2023, both schools, and then 2023 school safety.
24,000
It looks like we allocated 3.424 million, but we actually spent 4 million. So before we get into new projects, my concern is that we're looking at a $640,000
Where are you?
overspend, right here,
Where are you?
very last page.
Could we overspend?
So, and I guess the follow-on to that question is, like, from 2021, we allocated 2 million, we spent 2.182. 2023, we allocated 1.3, we spent 1.783. And so are we anticipating reimbursement dollars coming from RIDE that's going to close that shortfall? Or do we need to focus on closing the gap now before
yeah.
we start undertaking new projects?
Why did you spend more than was allocated?
I know there's a reimbursement rate coming, so that's why
So that
I
was
wanted to ask the
sort of
question.
the
Yeah, but we
agreement
were
we had-
supposed to vote for that, where that reimbursement
No,
would
well,
go.
it goes into the capital fund, right?
Right, and they
Yeah.
can't spend it without coming to us with what they wanted to spend us on. Right.
So,
So
again, I
that-
think this is some
you-
of a confusion, because I think they anticipated that they could spend that
No.
reimbursement as part of that project.
No, and that was part of the whole motion, that they couldn't.
Well, and again, if we got to close a gap, I'd like to close the gap, but even looking at these numbers, like, we're still, assuming we take the RIDE reimbursements to date of 315,000, we're still 326,000 short, so,
So if I may.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about FY '21. I don't recall going over there, but I'll check that. But just say the numbers are correct. you see the ride reimbursement that more than covers that.
Yeah,
And
but
on
that
F-
was supposed to be, that wasn't supposed to be for you to spend. That goes into the special account, and we were very clear on that.
Okay, well, in FY '23,
So,
we came
okay,
to
did you understand that?
I did, but I also want to clarify that in FY '23, when we presented the locker room project to you, we showed you that the project's going to cost $2.1 million, and you allocated 1.3. There's a $780,000 reimbursement coming from that. We explained that, and hopefully that resonates with you, that that's the way we're going to close that gap. I mean,
But we were supposed to vote on that, though, when it happened.
I just think
We
you
talked
did
about
vote on
that,
it.
though.
Yeah, we did, but you spent it already.
But we knew that the bid had come in higher than the money that we allocated.
Right.
Because we knew, it's always a year later. It has to, correct me if I'm wrong, but the project has to be completed before we can get reimbursed. So it's almost always a school year later that we get reimbursed.
Right,
So-
but my problem is, Deb, did we give them 20, did the money that was spent, where did that come from if you don't have it yet? Is it bills, future bills?
So, what you're talking about, maybe it'd be specific.
Oh,
I know what you're saying.
you know what I'm saying?
With the structural
Both years,
deficit, where did the
both years.
$315,000
So let's,
come?
I guess let's speak to FY '23 because that project is still ongoing.
Right, but let's do FY 2021.
Yeah.
So
see,
where did
A
you,
detailed list
I'm not
of
sure
how
about going
much
over there.
You're saying we've spent over, because I just see this
It's
number, I
not,
have
it's
no
not
idea what made that
detailed.
up.
No, it's not detailed.
So the allocation-
It's so detailed here on the town side,
The
we're at a
allocation,
little bit of a disadvantage.
well, because we don't know, because you don't give us, like,
no,
we-
no, 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 wait, no, let's back up. We gave you an allocation for the project of $2 million. The
Yeah,
project spent amount was 2.182.
but I don't know that for certain, I don't know.
If I may,
Who gave us that,
Yeah.
The treasurer.
That came from the treasurer.
So did the treasurer pay
They
that?
allocated it as a capital expenditure,
But-
that she reimbursed.
So we-
What project
So
is
she
this?
actually reimbursed
Well, she
2.182,
provides the money to them.
but we only allocated 2 million. So at some point, wasn't she supposed to not pay the bills? Where'd she get that money from?
So, guys, yeah, just to interject, I mean,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I totally see what you're saying. My question is more around, like, obviously with the timing of the ride reimbursements, like, it's almost like an accounting trick, right? So if we know it was 2.1 million, right, and we allocated 2 million, we're getting $315,000 back, we can come out of pocket before some of the other things happen, we're gonna get the 315 back into the account. You know, it's net, we're whole. But my biggest concern here is that, like, what is the reimbursement amounts we should expect for the, 1.3 that we allocated, but really it costs 1.7.
It's going to cost 2.1, and the reimbursement's going to be about 780,000.
Okay.
The project's not closed yet.
So that gets us to 2.1. If it's 780,000, it's 20,000 shy of 2.1.
Oh, yeah, so the project will come in, it'll be funded.
You
We're
still,
not over budget, I guess, the city.
you still haven't answered 2021, though. That's not for the
Yeah, so
gym
we
project.
need details on that, and my
Yeah, I
only,
don't-
That's not for the
reflecting on
gym
that project
That's what
is-
I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was the field lights, and we received a hefty reimbursement from National Grid on that. I just don't know if that was applied. I don't believe us ever going over balance on what we spent there. So, I'd love to see what the accounting is on that, and we'll go back and check our records. Maybe I can work with Chris and figure
That's
it out.
between, I don't have the accounting, this came from the treasurer's office, between
Okay.
her office and your office.
I think it's probably a grant that would have covered
And I
that.
know we're in between finance directors too, over on your side, so.
But when we talked about taking the ride money and opening up a separate account.
Right.
And putting that money into that account, we talked about it being kind of a rollover account so that things would be paid out of that. And when we went in, we had put that account in play, and then we came in with the request for the locker rooms. And we knew that that was coming in over 2 million.
So we voted to allocate that, and I understand that.
But we did it with that, I believe it was like 700,000 or 800,000.
Right, but my problem
In
is
that.
2021, because that's not for that project.
Well, if 315 came back in the reimbursement, right,
That's
There
ride
should-
reimbursement.
that's exactly, so it's ride reimbursement, so 182,696 should roll forward into that.
Well, we're supposed
earmarked
to be
account.
voting on any.
And
any
then we would have to vote
expenditure.
vote to allow them to expend those dollars on some of these things,
But I think we need.
or something else.
Well, a combination of those dollars and whatever
Correct.
we're voting for. But I think that the superintendent is correct. There were grants that I don't know if they're accounted in there. So I think that we need to go back to the treasurer to
This is the
see.
first one.
And I
Because
think
we
there-
don't have details here. I don't even know what all these projects are.
I think there are two things, at least two things here. One is recognizing that the process didn't work right this time. Okay, so we need to address that. But the ordinance is that the council, after consultation with the administrator and school superintendent, shall review and approve by resolution any withdrawal of funds from that capital improvement account for the schools.
Yep.
So that's what has to happen, at least going forward. Even with, now, we could, in any approval process of casino funds, to say, for this project,
We did.
we're going to allow for that to be used automatically. I don't know that we did that with that resolution. I just don't remember. And we just need to clean, well, that vote,
So
that vote.
there's a technical problem with that, in that he can't seek reimbursement for the project if he hasn't paid for the project.
I understand that.
And so
Check
he
out
can't
the
close
egg.
out the project if he doesn't have the money. He can't wait to get the reimbursement if he hasn't completed the project. So
You gotta finish.
But- But that's not where
But see,
that.
that's not what.
That money for the new project was from the reimbursement from the last project.
But it's not enough, that's the issue.
But we knew what that balance was in that account, because all of that RIDE money is going into that capital school account that we opened just for that purpose.
Right.
And when we approved, and I know this is the old one we're looking at, but when we approved the gym project, we knew that we were only allowing a certain number of dollars. It was not gonna pay for the whole project, but the balance in that account would make up the difference. And they didn't have to
But
come.
it didn't, and the thing was,
But this is, I'm not talking about this one. This is the older one.
the 2023.
2023 is the gym, correct?
2023
Okay.
is the
The
gym.
gym.
2021 is the bathrooms.
The bathrooms.
Right, and we never approved that. We didn't talk about that.
But we didn't have money in the account when we
No,
did the
we
bathrooms.
didn't.
Because we hadn't opened that account
Right,
yet.
that's what I'm saying.
Something that we all should have talked about long before tonight.
We did, wait,
Wait, we
Diane, I'm
have-
sorry.
Diane, this is
we
why.
said it- We said it right in the ordinance, okay? It's clear in the ordinance. I will agree with you on many things, but this is clear in the
This
ordinance.
is clear. No, but this was very clear, Diane, and this is what we've been talking about all night. Things, just the
Oh, no, 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 no.
communication. The
The
communication.
schools are not at fault here. You've got a report from your treasurer saying that apparently the schools overspent by $183,000.
Which I truly believe you
I
did.
have no idea what it is because we don't have.
But
it
she
in the
probably
company.
doesn't either. She gets, the way she explains it to me is the school says, okay, I need this money transferred. She doesn't even know why.
Irregardless.
No, it's
Can I
not
fin- no, no, no,
irregardless.
Can I finish my thought, please?
You know, Diane, you're being very rude, and I've just about had enough of it, okay? So,
Denise?
you were not always right, okay?
No, I'm not, but
Okay.
I'd like you to allow me to finish, please.
Finish, but do it politely, please.
Of course, of course. With respect to the 2021 bathroom renovation, the allocation was $2 million. According to this, we spent $2,182,000.
Right, that's the bills that came in.
And of course, we don't have that accounting in front of us to see how much it was piece by piece here tonight, at least not tonight. And so what I would like to suggest is that we come back and revisit that one, just to ensure, number one, it's accurate. Number two, why what was the thinking behind allowing it to go over? And, of course, we have received some reimbursements for that. So it is covered at this point.
But at this point,
Whether or
that
not there was a
account
vote-
wasn't there.
I'm sorry?
At this, in 2021, we didn't have the reimbursement account. It went into the general fund.
Yes, it did.
This account wasn't there, so there wasn't an agreement to take from that money because the account wasn't there. This is you overspent, and I trust this from Denise. Denise's figures are always right on. And she's saying 2182, 969, I trust that. So we allocated 2 million and it was overspent.
Okay. Can we,
Yeah, can I just clarify my question here for this whole piece? And I know we've kind of gone down a rabbit hole, but my intent in asking the question was, before we get into adding new projects out of the dollars that we have, I want to make sure that we're to date on the existing projects.
Right.
So, because I would hate to be in a situation where like you guys get 98% of the way on the school gym, and then the contractor's like, guys, if you're not going to pay your bill, we're out of here. And now the trim's not done or something, right? So, maybe we can find out some of that information and make sure that we're going to be current on all of these existing projects, and then see what we've got. We have about $1 million left to spend, and you guys are pretty
Yeah.
close in the request. I just don't want to, if we need 326,000, I don't want
No,
to
that's
allocate $1 million and then find out we need 326,000.
So I don't think we should do any of the allocations
But one of the
tonight until-
requests,
can I explain though, first of all, the process that we're going through with respect to the locker rooms? Because both Ms. Janik and Mr. Burke are on the building committee and they attend the meetings regularly. Every month, well, it's been every month, this month we skipped, but there is a thorough accounting of all of the bills that have been paid on that project. The project manager has presented it to us. We have been right on budget for this project up until now. And I don't anticipate the project to go over the 2.1 million that was budgeted for it.
Yeah, and as just a follow-on to that, right? Because the locker rooms are 2.1 million, we allocated 1.3. You know, if we have to, in order for you guys to get the reimbursement, and it's like timing issue, right? So
It is.
if we're gonna, the delta between 2.1 and 1.3 is gonna be the ride reimbursement, we should allocate the dollars to complete the project so we get the ride reimbursement, and then we can turn around and allocate those dollars to all this other stuff.
That works too.
When is the gym project scheduled to be completed?
Next month.
Next month?
This one, actually.
All right, so we'll say September. So you probably won't have received and paid all the bills until sometime in November. Which means you won't get the ride reimbursement until sometime in,
Yeah, so we need to
maybe as
hold,
late as June 2025.
so we need to hold off on any future allocations until we pay off all the outstanding bills right now.
Yeah, exactly. We want to pay our credit card
We
debt
need to
down
know where we
before
are.
we incur
Like-
new debt.
like, if you know that you're not, you're right on there, then you know what you've spent, so you can look at your accounting also and compare it to Denise's accounting. But I don't think we should allocate anything until the current projects are paid for. And also, I think in the future, we can't do it this way anymore.
No.
We can't do this way anymore, because if, suppose,
Writing checks we don't have money in the
right,
account for.
right, so.
Because
if-
it's predicated on state
Right,
giving us the reimbursements
right.
back. Yeah.
So, suppose we had already spent 2023 and 24, we'd be in trouble.
If we were down to zero, we wouldn't get
be
the
in
ride
trouble.
money because we'd have no money to finish paying the bills. That's the
Right.
problem. Yeah.
So, I don't think we should fund any future projects until we get past projects.
Yeah, and I do have one other question along the lines of this, right? So like the school safety, 124,000, looks like we still have 24,000 roughly left in the bank on that to spend. This could just be me misremembering, but I could have sworn that we did the security film in that request, and it does actually add up to 24,000, so that's why I figured I'd ask that question, because I couldn't recall from that meeting.
That was not part of that safety request.
Okay.
That was all the camera system and they integrating it with our,
And I know we talked about a lot, and it was at the library, and, it was actually one of the shorter meetings we've ever had, so.
No, the security film we talked about before was on the doors of the classrooms.
Depending on the
the
school, it would
windows.
be the exterior windows of all the schools.
Maybe that's what I was remembering, so
Yes.
my apologies.
That's not what's listed here. It's showing 4-part and security, vestibule,
It's just
vestibule,
a,
vestibule.
yeah, it's just the
Vestibule, vestibule.
vestibules, it's not anything else.
Which is all the exterior.
But it's the glass.
So when you go to the door, like
Yeah,
they
I
have the
understand.
main doors, there's all the windows around it and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
And into the office areas.
Yep.
Yes.
So if I can just suggest that while we sit and get all the details of this, that we kind of, if we're gonna hold on this, that we kind of earmark dollars, because this is all safety, health and safety
Right, but what
for
I'm-
the schools, but we had talked about committed to this health and safety for the schools when we approved the gym modifications
But this
last
would be
year.
the 2024 money. That's
No,
what
not
I'm-
necessarily.
That's what I'm thinking, yes.
Well, maybe, I mean, it could be, but it could also be, again, the ride reimbursements coming in, we have to vote to expend those dollars, so, if we got 315,000
Right,
back,
that's
we're gonna get
what
another, $8 million roughly. For the other one, we wanna make, or not, 800,000, 780,000. I mean, we have to spend those dollars too, but we have to be able to write the check first to get the dollars back.
But what I'm saying, we should hold this off for the 2024, when we talk 2024 for now. Let's figure out 2023, spend that money, and this will be the 2024 request.
But my point, Madam President, is that I don't think we can spend the remainder of the 2023 money right now if we have to close a gap in order to get the money back from RIDE. So this 2023. No.
Saying exactly the same thing.
Right, but let's.
Yeah, we are. We're saying the same thing, because regardless of what part it comes out, John, we
Yeah.
still have the money there.
We just have to make sure we have the money there.
Right,
That's
so
the
we're
point,
gonna-
yeah.
We are saying the same
Okay,
thing. So
we're on the
20
same page. We're just saying it differently. 6 of one, half dozen the other.
Right, so what I'm saying is, if we don't have the money, we just take it from 2024, because we have 3 million in there. All right, right? Okay,
Madam Chair?
yes.
If I may, not knowing all the numbers in front of me and what you have and what you don't have, I'd ask for your consideration tonight on maybe just 3 items that are on that list that are pretty eminent for us to be safe next year, and those are the replacing of the doors at those 3 schools. I think the total is about $255,000. We'd like to do that work this summer if possible and make sure those doors are ready. They are in tough shape.
So which items are you looking at?
It'd be the bottom, if you come up from the bottom above, it's
Yep.
front doors, Picasso at
Yep.
55,000, 2 doors at the middle school at 50, and about 6 doors at Ranger at 150,000.
So these are the ones that are ticked.
No. It's one of them. It's just the front door Picasso,
Is
doors 2
55.
and 5, and then the cafeteria and back
okay.
doors at Ranger.
Yeah,
Is
there's
that
6
correct?
doors, yeah.
Totaling 255.
Yeah, I mean, the rest is important, but we
We
certainly,
could do that, I think.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we encumber those funds
I'll,
as requested.
I'll second it, assuming that the security film's gonna come down on those doors.
so just, so everyone understands the process here and where these numbers come from. So we submit the 5-year capital plan to RIDE.
Yeah.
Every item on that list then is vetted by an estimator, a trained estimator, and they've got to sort of figure out the price is what it would be in any year of the 5 years, because they don't know. So they have cost inflation and all that. But the safety net for the town and for the schools is everything goes out to bid. So we pay the bid price. So if it's over, it's over. We get we pay what comes out the bid. The doors could be a little less too. We'll go out to bid right away if you approve it.
Well, and of course, the problem with the 5-year plan is everybody's noticed over the past 5 years, in the past 5 years, almost everything's gone up 30-40%.
Which is why I think some of these costs on here are inflated, right? These cost estimators know that.
Your ride reimbursement might cover it, but you still could be in a deficit.
Well, no, we pay the bid price and we get reimbursed on the bid price.
Yeah, I
So
know.
that's the safety net.
I think what you're saying, Jay, is if he's estimating right now 55 for Picasso, it could come in at a bid price of 60. Is that what you're saying?
Most, yeah,
I-
most likely.
I think what you're saying is that on here, it shows a bid price of 55 for Picasso, or an estimate of 55 for Picasso, but it could come in at a bid price of 60. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Yes.
Is it, what you
No,
saying?
so
And I don't know
you,
what you're
you
saying.
you do a 5-year plan, let's say 2021, 22, blah, blah. And you put what you want to do and what the estimated cost is going to be.
Which is what the 55 is.
Yeah, but when you get to that year, you may find out that it's no longer 55.
It's 60.
100.
Okay.
He's saying.
We said the same thing.
Right. But we're getting reimbursed on whatever the actual costs are, correct?
35, minimum 35. If it makes the council feel, we can go out to bid and bring you the bid package if it's over what you allocate. I don't think it will be. I think these prices are higher because it's fitting in a 5-year window, but for some reason it's over 255. We'll let you know before we spend a dime.
So I think in the motion should be what we're allocating. So we're replacing the front door at Picasso for $55,000. We're replacing doors 2 and 5 at TMS. And we're replacing front cafeteria and back doors at Ranger. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
Or is it a cafeteria or a cafetorium?
For a total of $255.
So moved.
I'm gonna, that's fine, you can vote tonight. We're gonna prepare a resolution for the next council meeting, so this is, the ordinance requires a resolution. It's gonna be memorialized, there'll be no questions what we did for the future, so we'll have a document that we can go back to
Okay.
and look at, so, but you can vote it now, allocate it, so we can go out and do what you have to do. But the ordinance requires a resolution, my fault for not catching that last time, but we need to do this by resolution in the future. So everyone has transparent, it's written, and there's no confusion as to what you're allocating for and when you allocate it. And I'm assuming this comes out of fiscal year, what funds?
23.
23.
Thank you.
So $255. So I have a motion and second.
You
Yep.
motioned, I second. The only piece of discussion I would say is I have been to Picasso and that door 2 and 5 at TMS, they need to be replaced, so.
Okay.
At least get that part
So
moving.
motion's been made and second. All those in favor? Okay, that passes.
So, Madam Chair, just a quick update. We're left with a 2023 balance of 752,050.43, which I think is smart for us to hang on to, knowing that we still have that potential gap we have to cover in order to get the ride reimbursement to then
So you
expend
don't
those
want
dollars.
but we have $3 million still sitting there in 2024. That's what I was trying to say before. We still have, right, Chris, am I right? Or-
Yeah, so what was that you said was the balance?
752,050.43.
10 grand. I'll figure it out later. That's
752050?
Yeah.
43 cents.
So what I'm,
I do agree with John. I think you should leave this as it is until we have the treasurer, the resolution, and the accounting is square, and we know who's talking what here.
Yeah.
Because I do think they're kind of working in a vacuum here, but,
okay, so then
and then we'll just deal with the
we're all done.
FY '24 receipts that have come in based on all the other
Okay,
requests.
so we're done for
And I would
tonight.
leave some monies for the school for FY '24.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because if we leave this alone, that gets us the completion of the locker room,
Yeah.
just about. And then we get the ride reimbursement money that we can then turn around and
then we
allow
can
you
go
guys
to-
to spend on some other stuff.
Well, I do think that as you move forward, you should always allocate for the full project.
Correct.
Whatever money goes back, you reallocate that at the time.
As-
that
when it's back.
Yeah, we can't be playing this like shuffle game.
Because I don't know how we're paying the bill now.
Yeah,
No, I don't either, but she's not here to ask,
I
so.
don't know if she's taking the money out of the general fund to do it. That's a question we would have to ask the treasurer on
Oh,
how
she's taking
we're
it.
paying these bills.
Yeah.
Because there's no appropriation for them, and there's no allocation of
I think
gaming
she's
money.
just taking from the gaming revenue,
Well,
and just, when the
we just
no,
need-
that wouldn't make sense though.
We just need to figure it out.
Because the
But that's-
reimbursement is going into another account.
Yes,
So we need to
Okay,
pin this down so that we know exactly
we
what
have to approve its use.
but
The more-
don't worry, we'll have another meeting.
Yeah, it'll get worked out.
We'll do another meeting in September, sound right? Or maybe
We'll start the
August.
treasurer, we might want to do it in one of your August meetings to.
Okay.
well, and I think most importantly, right, as you guys get these ride reimbursements, you're building this other pot of money, like that apparently the process means that we have to allow you guys to spend, so like, if there's projects, safety projects, improvements, like, we should get those dollars to work as soon as possible, so.
Yeah. All right. So that's done.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
So you'll find on the rest of the spreadsheet that I gave you, that's like 6 pages in, everything's highlighted in yellow with the, what I would think is a priority.
Okay. But that would be for next time.
It's for the FY '24 monies, so I don't know if you're gonna do the FY '24 monies?
No, we're gonna wait.
Okay,
Now,
that's fine.
The fire,
And I'll redo this to the way to approve things tonight, so that.
that
After the
pumper-
resolution?
That fire pumper, we've already.
We ordered it, it's ordered.
But that's on here.
It is on
We've
here,
already
but
spent
you
it.
just approved it tonight to be paid for.
Right, okay. Sorry, okay. All right, we're gonna move on before. Yeah, this is a little more complicated than it needs to be, but I'm not sure how
Yeah,
we
it's a
can.
lot to put together too.
I'm not
It's
sure
like,
how we're gonna fix it, but.
And for what it's worth too, I would say that the position we're in now, where we are essentially a full year behind, puts us in a better position to, when the schools come to us and say, hey, we gotta spend $2-something million, we have now essentially 2 years backed up. So we can actually write the check.
Okay, yeah, you're right. All right, I lost my agenda.
Again?
It's Councilor Paull on Warren Avenue.
Before you, and I know that the library director is here, I didn't know if you wanted to hear from her while she was here, I don't know if she'll be available the next.
Yeah,
That's, and
Yeah, come on up, Captain. I just gotta get- Go ahead,
Catherine, I don't know if there's anything you want to add about,
Is there anything
I
you
know we're
said?
not gonna do it tonight, but I don't know, the next meeting, if you're gonna be available, now's an opportunity for you to at least.
I should be available, but my descriptions are in the packet that I sent along. I do have extra copies if you need them this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Was that the dog park, one that we just did? No?
No, it was just if she had.
No, she had a request in for the.
Oh,
Candy
okay,
money.
Because she
got
came
it.
for that too, I didn't wanna, I don't know if she's gonna be available.
I see.
So Councilor Paull, Warren Avenue signs, anything, oh,
So they're all discussed and, motion to go into executive. Please. I'm assuming he's in the restroom. So.
He just went to the restroom.
okay, everybody breathe.
We're losing more. Did you put the hold music on?
Okay. Elevator music is off. Councilor Paull, anything further on Warren Avenue?
I have nothing further, Chris. You said the signs are ordered or
I
in?
believe they're there, I believe they're at DPW now.
Beautiful. That's the first time hearing of it, so I appreciate that. Awesome.
Okay, Councilor Paull, dog park parking.
So I wanted to put this on here. I was talking to the council president, and I know that the chief is somewhat involved in this as well. The way that the dog park parking was designed or was put in was literally not what was asked for, and it's pretty much become a safety issue. There's about 8 or 9 or 10 spots, and people have to back in and out of Roosevelt at the entrance and exit to the library. It's a pedestrian nightmare, and something's got to give over there. What was requested several times was that the triangle itself get removed in the Booger Marsh parking lot, and the parking spots be put in that way, which would actually give you about 23 spots. So, essentially, the request is that the current parking spots be fixed, made whole, and that what was originally asked for be done.
I
So,
thought the plan was always to do away with the triangle and
that was always the plan. I don't know where this came from.
The dog park parking.
parking.
Yeah, that dog barking isn't what we decided
It's
it was gonna
dangerous.
be.
I didn't design it, I didn't approve it, I think it was done.
I was told, the director said the dog park asked for this, and that is not what we asked for,
You know,
so.
he's not here to
I know,
defend it,
but,
you know, so again, it's, I
I'm just-
don't have an answer for you.
Can I posit that we ask the administrator to talk to the DPW director about it?
well, that's what I'm saying, I mean.
Give us a report?
This is only to get the discussion rolling
Okay.
and get this moving to fix this, so. I don't know if the police chief has anything he wants to add. I know he met the dog
Well, I
park.
do know that there
owner
are some
twice.
safety issues that we can resolve by doing crosswalks, painting, things like that, that would make it more visible, which would, you know, as far as the construction of ripping things out, I don't know what's under the ground there.
We need
I don't know why that
a
is
pedestrian
designed the way it
table.
was done, and I don't know why the decision was made to go the route that it did, but it did provide parking.
Somebody has my agenda.
I don't know where that decision came from. I wasn't part of it. So. But we'll look into it. But in the meantime, there are some other things that we could probably mitigate on a more expedited basis.
I think what David, you're referring to is that meeting we had
We
with the
had several.
library. Yeah, right. And when I saw where the parking was, I was a little surprised, but I thought there was a reason for it. I didn't,
I don't know the reason.
all right. All right, so we'll put that on the next agenda when Rick can make, is Rick still on vacation?
I'm assuming he's on his way back, but yeah.
Next is public works staffing.
Public work staffing.
And that was actually nothing more than, again, to get the discussion rolling on, I know that the administrator did ask them to advertise. They're staffed, or their contract staffed for 10, they're currently staffed at 7. One of the reasons I asked this to be put on there is to look into the staffing and possibly an MOU of some sort between the director of the union, yourself. There's a mechanic and a mechanic helper position in the contract that I think we can all agree because of the market rates, we're never gonna fill. They haven't been filled, they're still being advertised, but if we can get a couple more laborers to help with the workload that DPW has, I think it would be a little bit more efficient. Again, just asking for a discussion to be had on that.
So there were 10 in the contract, there's 10 in the budget, and it's been that way until we finish negotiations. Negotiations are done. It was never my intention to fill 2 of those 10 positions. They were 2 positions that were pretty much tied to the landfill. And I know that the staffing and the union president has his views on it. I disagree with his views. I don't think that there's enough work that isn't being done. I'm not going to get into the performance level of the staffing, and I don't think that that's the forum for it. I also don't think it's an issue that we should be talking about labor negotiations in that contract. We are filling up to 8 positions, and that's what we agreed to. And this has been fully vetted with our labor lawyer and the director and the council over time, that we were going to diminish some of the staffing down to 8 because of the loss of the landfill, and there's no need to have those staff.
My question, and I was gonna look it up before I left, but something occurred. What is in the contract? How many men? In the current contract?
There's 10, but there's also language that gives the town the latitude. If we're not doing the landfill, and there's no need to have those staff, there's no need to keep them. So we're not required to have 10 people simply because there's 10 positions. That's not something that we're gonna negotiate here at this table on the open.
Okay.
That's something that should be done differently.
Okay. So will you look into it?
I'll look into it, but it was never my intention to fill beyond 8.
Which,
Did you say they were
which,
budgeted for
I will
10?
tell you.
We are budgeted for 10, and it was purposely budgeted for 10 until we were done with the contract.
Yes. I remember that, and I remember the whole discussion about we can reduce it by 2
Yes.
because the landfill is closing.
Exactly.
I remember
And the
that.
staff currently are not overworked because 2 people are not being hired. They're doing the same amount of work that they've always done. There's only so many hours in the day, they work those hours. They may be doing different roles, but there's not an abundance of more work that's not being done.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just one question as it relates to that. Number of plow routes, how many do we have in town?
Excuse me?
The number of plow routes?
It's 9.
9,
Let's go
okay.
way off this. No.
Well, as it relates to staffing, I mean, that would be my question if we have,
We also have contract.
yeah, if we have 7 guys and there's 9 plow routes, we can't fill it with our
We
guys.
tried to contract
Yeah.
out 6 of those 9.
Okay,
So the day-to-day management of these departments is left
It's
to the town
him.
administrator.
Is
perfect. And again, that's just me asking a question.
That's correct. There's
Not an
there's no
accusation.
disputing that, except that the council oversees the administrator.
No, I understand that.
So
I'm just saying, but-
I'm just asking questions and ask that
No,
the
no,
discussion
I'm
be
just-
had.
I appreciate that. I just want to let those type of decisions as the council budgets, but if the administrator feels that he could do it for less or, whatever, that's his call. And of course, he answers to you, but that's ultimately his or her call.
Okay.
I would also just suggest that any labor discussions be held in executive session.
I wasn't aware that that's was gonna be done.
This is a general discussion.
Yeah, I wasn't
No,
aware.
it was just,
This is a general, this is not what it.
Okay.
well, yeah, because it was a budgetary thing, that's why I was looking at that.
All right, and the next one, discussion possible vote regarding Grinnell's beach overflow.
So again, on this one, just to get a discussion rolling or something in the works, and I remember pointing this out to you when we were down at the fireworks display, that Gadsby Road grass area that is currently just overflow parking as it is for events and other things that we do down there. If we could look into potentially putting additional parking there for Grinnell's, whether it's for events, whether it's for the beach. There's been several occasions so far this year where the beach is filled up during the day, and we're turning away residents when we could actually have residents park in an overflow lot, residents only.
So there's competing issues related to that because the Harbor Commission has
Three
dinghy dock
spots.
slots. They may be 3, but there's at least 12 available slots that would take that up, that if they assign them all. And then who's gonna monitor the parking? That we're gonna hire more guards it's an issue.
So currently, what I looked at, where the DPW put those 3 spots, they actually put them right at the end of Gadsby. There's one sign there. Last week, there were 3 Massachusetts plates parked in those spots with no permit, and all 4 dinghies were at the dock. But what I'm essentially getting at is, based on the 165 feet from the pavement to Hillside Ave, you could easily put 19 spots in there. So it would be, again, by permit only. I mean, we have enforcement issues with Town Beach anyway, so that's not, but if we have overflow parking where the residents could park, that's all I'm asking to look at, so.
I just don't know how to deal with the competing issue. I'm not disagreeing that, 4 boats were there and doesn't mean that they weren't being used, but what are they gonna do when they come in? Now I don't have a spot to park.
So the competing issue is that those people with the permits pull in and park. They have a permit.
No, he's talking about the dinghy parking.
Correct, the dinghy dock.
how many
But
spaces?
if they're already done by residents, they don't have a place to park.
Place to park. So who's gonna monitor?
Well, there's a sign
Who
there
can
now
park
that says dinghy dock parking, and like I said the other day when I drove by it, there were 3 Massachusetts plates parked there, with no dinghy dock sticker, so it's not being monitored now.
I just think it needs to be fleshed out a little bit more than,
And that's what I'm asking for, a discussion on possibly clearing that out, putting down seashells, maybe putting a fence up for the neighbor, and having some overflow parking to serve our residents for the beach overflow.
okay, but that also comes at a price and budget and,
We haven't touched the 24 gaming revenue yet.
well, again, it's, cart before the horse.
It's the
Well, what we could do is
the investigation before the spending, so that way it's not hastily spent.
what we could do is talk about paving it and making those as many spots as we can. And
I
then
prefer his,
I don't know if I go pave.
shells, or whatever.
Seashells.
I didn't mean paving.
Paving it would make
Fix
it Gadsby Road.
I'm saying fixing it all up, and then we can decide who's parking there. But we've already
I can
given,
have the director put together a cost proposal to do
but
it.
we've already given it to the dinghy dock.
How many,
yeah.
how many spots do we have there for the dinghy docks?
There's 12.
12?
There's technically not, because again, they only went to the end of Gadsby, dug out a little bit of grass and laid down some dirt. And there's a sign and there's 3 spots. So there's 12 available permits, but there's only 3 spots right now.
Yeah, that's,
All right, so we'll look into that for a future agenda. Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
before you do
Yes,
that?
that's right.
I'd ask you to amend the agenda for executive session to include a discussion only and an update on a case of BCP Properties LLC versus Town of Tiverton, CA number NC 2024-0146. Just to add that to the executive session for that discussion and legal opinion, legal advice.
So do I have a vote to add it to
So moved.
executive?
Second.
And then a vote to go into
No,
executive?
no. Yeah, we have to vote to add.
Okay, go ahead.
No, we already moved. So you just need to take a vote.
Right,
Okay.
that's what I was saying. Okay. So then town solicitor, Rhode Island General Law 42465A2 litigation, Island Ridge Farm LLC versus Town of Tiverton. Update NC 2024-0310. Do I have a motion?
And
And-
NC 2024-0146, which was just added.
Okay.
So moved.
Second?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
okay, we're going into executive session.